All right, in the 11th slot, the team formerly known as team number 4, NatureNetworkers. Come on, Bridget.
So, Nature's Networkers, turning plants that survive, thrive, and do their thing. Hi, I'm Bridget Hawkins, and I'm part of the Nature Networkers team. And firstly, I'd like to introduce you to Jeff Spark. Jeff's a farmer in Rangiora, not far from here. The water that Christchurch drinks flows directly under Jeff's farm. So Jeff is really engaged in making sure that he's a responsible farmer in the things that he does on his property. So what that means for Jeff is that he does a lot of planting of trees and shrubs to assist with showing that he's being responsible. But it costs a lot of money to do that. So the very first significant planting that Jeff got underway cost him about $40,000. And when he started, he actually didn't know a lot about what was involved in getting this planting. Where did he get the plants? What plants did he use? And he found it really hard to connect with the people that had the right skills to do that job right. So the consequence for Jeff was in the first year of that, after he did the planting, he lost half of those plants. So that was the big investment that disappeared. You know, the great news is he really knew that this was the right thing to be doing, and he's persevering. But what we realised is this is an opportunity, and that's the genesis of Nature's Networkers. How we can solve that problem by providing farmers with a wraparound service that gets them plants that are going to survive, thrive, do their job, guaranteed. So what that means is something that's all bagged up for them. So those choices about, you're thinking about doing some planting. What plants are you actually going to put in? You know, what are the plants that are going to work with your soil type, your climate, and actually do the job, the function that you're wanting to do that planting for? Where are you going to buy them? You know, where are the nurseries that are actually producing quality plants that will thrive in your climate? And what about the people to plant them? I mean, if you're planting thousands of flaxes, you're not going to do that in between milking. So how do you find people that have got the skills to do that really important establishment planting? And then, as it turns out, once they're planted, they don't just look after themselves. There's a maintenance program that's really important, just as important as the planting and the choosing of the plants, that's got to carry on for 3 years beyond that initial planting to ensure that you get that really verdant, thriving planting that is what you envisaged when you started. So wrapping all of that up into a service so that next time Jeff goes out to plant up another area, he's got confidence that the investment he makes is going to end up with what he wanted as the outcome. Now, we've done a bit of market research, and it seems that there's not anyone else there actually trying to pull all of these things together and make it just this complete frictionless way for a farmer to be able to achieve the planting goal that they want. But for Jeff, he's pretty excited about the idea of Nature's Networkers because he wasn't that thrilled about losing sort of around 10K worth of plants, so he's keen on that. But what are the other benefits? Why are the other reasons that he's really keen to make sure that that planting that he does is successful? First of them, if you've got these rows of flourishing flaxes, what they're doing is a pretty great job of trapping dirt and pollutants, so really addressing water quality and the impact on water quality. Another incredibly important thing is it brings back birds and bees and insects. So suddenly having all of these plants that are flowering at different times of the year, you're creating and sustaining ecosystems that have been lost for some time in a lot of our rural landscapes. And some of this is starting to build into connection. So there's talk of building green corridors from the Alps through to the sea, where birds can actually now fly all the way down because there's food for them. And an ecosystem of birds and insects that then supports natural pollination of things that are happening on the farm. And another really important outcome that we discovered when we talked to a range of farmers about why they're doing this planting and the benefit for them is it's like a badge. Now, when you and I walk down the street and there's someone collecting for a worthy cause, like, breast cancer, or, you put the money in the tin and they give you a badge. And so as you carry on down the street, everyone can see that actually you care and you've done something about it because you've donated some money. Well, for these farmers, these fantastic flourishing rows of flaxes are like the badge that they're putting up in their communities that says, actually, I care and I've done something about it. And actually their community, they drive down their road and they see it. They think, great, Jeepers, he's done some fantastic planting into it. And everyone feels really good about this activity that's happening. So we know that Jeff is really excited about the idea of a much more seamless way to be able to continue on this journey of planting up. But actually, how big can we go? How big can Nature's Networkers get? Now, I know some of you who know a bit about this know that fencing of waterways has been happening for quite a number of years now, and then there's been a fair bit of plantings already happening, so maybe we've missed the boat. However, one of the things that we learned as we were talking to farmers, firstly, it actually costs quite a lot of money, so they don't do it all in one hit. So year one, they've decided they're going to plant up this bit of land that they've fenced off. They'll do that part. Year two, they might do another part, and so it goes. So a lot of farmers have started, but I bet virtually none of them have finished. And another really interesting insight that we got when we were talking to farmers is that once they start, and then they themselves get to understand what those benefits are of actually having this planting and biodiversity on their own farms, they then think, well, actually, this is going pretty well. Not only am I going to plant up in the areas that I've fenced off for my waterways, but I've got these funny little corners and really steep banks, which actually nothing grows and it's a bit of a pain. And they realise these are areas that can be planted up. Instead of becoming a problem area, they become part of this fabulous ecosystem that they are developing. So we're really sure that the market for our service of making the ability to do this seamlessly and cost effectively, it's not only there now, but it's a market that's going to continue to grow. So we are a really passionate, excited team in Nature's Networkers. But the great thing about us as a team is although we are super enthusiastic, and that is obviously a very important thing for a business venture to happen, we also have got a lot of skills. So between us, we have got expertise around plants, around government policy and other programs that are happening in the space that all need to be knitted together to make this successful. And we've got the business nous and the networks throughout New Zealand through our set of contacts to be able to pull together what we need to do to make Nature's Networks a real success. So we're looking for some other people who think that this is a great idea too, and if they're sort of connectors and doers and want to jump in with us, we would be really clear to hear from anyone else that wants to become part of the team that makes Nature's Network a real success. Thank you.
Thank you, Bridget. Judges?
Oh, sorry.
Any comments, judges?
Sure, well done, Bridget. Where there have been support, although not as extensive as what you're proposing in the Taranaki, the uptake's been very strong, so I think you're on the road for success. Well done.
Yeah, good on you for identifying that a lot of people spend money on this and don't always see success. What I would encourage you to think about is, from the germ of this idea, is to extend it into things like food forests potentially, link it with some of the other ideas you've heard tonight around the land use project particularly, and the organic networks, and think really broadly about what you could be helping farmers with planting on those corners.
Yeah, great idea, and I'd encourage you to think about how you connect it into a sensor platform in the water. So it'd be fascinating to understand over time, well, what an impact is this having in my environment, and how can I model that of my impact on my farm over the next 10, 20 years, and then how do I use that internationally to sell my products and services?
Excellent. Thank you, judges. Again, thanks, Bridget. One more round of applause. Nature's Networkers.